Imagine a world where a single accusation could cost you your life, where dreams turned to nightmares and neighbors became executioners. In 1692, the small Puritan village of Salem became the stage for one of history's most infamous moral panics. But what really happened in Salem? What caused the hysteria? And why were innocent people hanged for crimes they couldn't have committed? This is the chilling, true story of the Salem Witch Trials, where fear, faith, and power collided with deadly consequences. To understand the Salem Witch Trials, we need to step into the world of 1692. Salem Village in colonial Massachusetts was a place defined by strict Puritan beliefs, hardship, and suspicion. Puritans believed the devil was real and active. Life was harsh. Harsh winters, disease, and Native American attacks haunted settlers. Children were expected to be silent, obedient, and God-fearing. Entertainment was forbidden. No dancing, no singing. Joy was often seen as sin. There were tensions brewing beneath the surface. There were land disputes, bitter rivalries between families, a recent smallpox outbreak. The colony was also still reeling from King Philip's War, a bloody conflict with native tribes that had devastated communities. People were stressed, anxious, and deeply religious. In Salem, Satan was not a metaphor. He was a neighbor in disguise. The spark came in January 1692 in the home of Reverend Samuel Parris. His 9-year-old daughter, Betty Parris, and 11-year-old niece, Abigail Williams, began exhibiting strange behaviors. Convulsions, screaming fits, hiding under furniture, speaking in tongues. Doctors couldn't find a physical cause. One diagnosis stood out: bewitchment. Under pressure, the girls accused 3 women of afflicting them. Tituba, Reverend Parris's Caribbean slave. Sarah Good, a homeless beggar. Sarah Osborne, an elderly woman who had defied church norms. These women were outsiders, vulnerable, and in a community desperate for answers, they became convenient targets. Tituba, under intense interrogation, confessed to consorting with the devil and claimed there were others in Salem working with her. That one confession unleashed a floodgate of accusations that led to mass hysteria. Within weeks, the number of afflicted girls grew. Ann Putnam Jr., Mercy Lewis, Elizabeth Hubbard, Mary Walcott, they all began to show similar symptoms. Hysteria spread like wildfire. One day you were a neighbor, the next, a witch. People were accused for having fits, owning strange pets, muttering to themselves, appearing in others' dreams. Spectral evidence was considered valid testimony. Even refusing to confess was seen as proof of guilt. Soon, prominent community members were arrested. Rebecca Nurse, a well-respected 71-year-old woman. Martha Corey, an outspoken churchgoer. John Proctor, who dared to challenge the trial's legitimacy. What's worse, children were accusing their own parents. Courtrooms became theaters of fear. The afflicted would scream and faint during testimonies, claiming to see spirits. By May 1692, the newly formed Court of Oyer and Terminer began issuing death sentences. The first execution took place on June 10, 1692. Bridget Bishop, known for wearing bright clothes and running a tavern, was hanged at Gallows Hill. She was the first, but not the last. In total, 19 people were hanged. One man, Giles Corey, was pressed to death with heavy stones for refusing to plead. 5 others died in jail. All of them proclaimed their innocence. Salem's prisons overflowed. Families were torn apart. Even children like 4-year-old Dorothy Good were imprisoned. The trials became a spectacle of suffering, fueled by fear, rumor, and religious extremism. So, what changed? By October 1692, cracks were showing. Prominent figures like Increase Mather began questioning the use of spectral evidence. Governor William Phips, whose wife was accused, disbanded the court of Oyer and Terminer. A new court was formed that disallowed spectral evidence, leading to most remaining cases being dismissed. Public opinion turned. Ministers admitted they had made grave mistakes. Families of the accused demanded justice. In May 1693, the remaining accused were released. But the damage was done. In the years that followed, Salem was haunted, not by witches, but by guilt. In 1697, the court publicly confessed its error. In 1702, the trials were declared unlawful. In 1711, some families received financial restitution. And in 1957, over 250 years later, Massachusetts formally apologized. But the psychological scar remained. Historians have since debated the causes. Mass hysteria? Religious repression? Ergot poisoning from moldy rye? Social revenge, especially between rival families? The truth may be a mix of all these things. What's certain is that the Salem Witch Trials stand as a warning of what can happen when fear trumps reason and justice is drowned by hysteria. The Salem Witch Trials weren't just a dark chapter in colonial history. They were a mirror showing us how easily truth can be distorted and how dangerous unchecked power can be. So the next time someone tells you a ghost story about Salem, remember, the real horror wasn't witches. It was people. If you found this story eye-opening, subscribe to MindSpark Daily for more untold histories that still echo today. Like, comment, and share your thoughts. What would you have done if you lived in Salem?